This time it's as simple as ABC. ABC Sopwith motorcycles, of course. Now before we start, don't forget to like and subscribe, it really does help us to create future content. The ABC was the product of two of Britain's greatest engineering minds, Thomas Sopwith and Granville Bradshaw. So before we get too deeply into the story of ABC, it's a good idea to look back at the two main characters and give a little bit of their backstory, I think. Now, Thomas Sopwith was one of the great pioneers of British aviation. Born in Kensington, London in 1888, by the turn of the century Tommy developed an interest in motorcycles, before later becoming obsessed with aeronautics, before founding the company that would bear his name in 1912. During the Great War they would produce more than 18,000 aircraft, including the iconic Sopwith Pup and Sopwith Camel. Unsurprisingly, at war's end, demand for aircraft absolutely tanked, and Sopwith needed new ways to keep the factory busy. And here he would form a partnership with Granville Bradshaw, the other side of the ABC coin. Bradshaw was born in Preston in Lancashire in 1887. Like Sopwith, he became interested in aviation at an early age. Age 19 he would build his first aircraft, but would later become much more interested in their power units. He would become a founder member of the ABC company, for whom he would design the Wasp radial aero engine. Just like Sopwith, ABC would find themselves short of work at war's end, and so the two companies would form a partnership in 1918, intending to produce motorcycles penned by Bradshaw. ABC motorcycle production would begin in 1919 with two very different models. The first was the 123cc Skootamota, a nearly formed scooter designed by Bradshaw and one of the first to actually feature a seat. Before this, on most motor scooters, the rider had to stand upright. But unlike the other machine built under the ABC banner, the Skootamota was not actually produced at the Sopwith factory, instead being constructed by the Gilbert Campling Company. Like many later scooters, the machine used tiny wheels at the front and back. The tiny engine was positioned just over the rear wheels and the tank sat on top of that. The unfortunate rider then had to sit on top of the whole lot. Whilst unlike many later designs, the tiny Skootamota used a 4-stroke engine with an inlet over exhaust valve layout. This clearly didn't produce a great deal of power, but the scooter only capable of around 15 miles an hour. On later machines, the engine was replaced by an overhead valve unit, and these were a bit quicker. Whilst reining in the power were externally contracting drum brakes. On quick inspection, these do somewhat resemble the later internally expanding drum that we know so well. But in this case, an asbestos reinforced belt actually wraps around the drum and contracts around it when you apply the brake. This does work surprisingly well, although the system is a bit grabby. The Skootamota was an instant success, but was quickly copied, with even the mighty Krupp concern in Germany producing a version. And with so many competitors, many of which could undercut the ABC, sales of the Skootamota soon began to fall, and by 1922 the bike was out of production. But ABC's best known motorcycle was in fact produced at the Sopwith plant, and this would be the 400cc flat twin. Now this machine bristled with unusual features. It featured a flat twin engine of 398cc with the cylinders pointing out either side, just like much later BMWs. But unlike those, it featured chain final drive. And whilst the engine in the first BMWs was a side valve, the ABC used overhead valves. And this was done for essentially two reasons. One, it would give the ABC motorcycle better performance, but it also allowed Sopwith to use the engine to power lighter aircraft. The engine ran a bore and stroke of 69 by 54mm to give 398cc, while the engine breathed through a single Claudel Hobson carburettor. Whilst peak power was somewhere in the low teens, top speed being around the 70-mile-an-hour mark, which was going some for a machine in 1919. And indeed the ABC Sopwith was a machine which featured a very advanced technical specification, from its overhead valves to its 4-speed hand-changed gearbox and chain final drive, something still not universal in 1919. And the chassis was similarly advanced, with drum brakes front and rear and leaf spring based suspension at both ends. There was even a modern centre stand and leg shields. Curiously, one thing that was omitted was a kickstarter, Bradshaw believed that the bike could be pushed away so easily that a Kickstarter was superfluous. Amazingly, after the deal had been agreed on, Bradshaw had a working prototype in just 3 weeks, with the machine entering production equally rapidly. And so unsurprisingly, there were a few teething problems when the bike was first released in 1919. But the Sopwith engineers were aircraft men, and they built the machine to a very high quality indeed. And indeed, what a stunning machine the little ABC is. And in some ways the bike was a 1920s equivalent to a modern BMW, being a high quality product intended for sports touring. The seat and riding position of those footboards was extremely comfortable, an effect added to by the suspension front and rear, whilst the fuel tank contained a handy 2¼ gallons, enough it was claimed for a range of 250 miles. And on the roads of the 1920s, that probably added up to a couple of days' travel. But there was a problem, because quality is a double-edged sword. Quality is all well and good, but it also costs money. And with the machine going on sale at just £70 at launch, this meant the company simply wasn't making any money. And indeed it was later estimated that at priced at anything under £300, the machine would not actually be profitable. And so came the stark realisation that ABC Sopwith was running at a loss. And once the price was raised to make the machine actually commercially viable, the bike buying public balked at the cost. And this, along with a number of factors, would lead to the closure of the Sopwith plant in 1921. But this wasn't quite the end for the ABC flat twin. French company Neumann Rhone would produce the machine under licence with an enlarged capacity of 493 cc's, with the French eventually producing a little over 3,000 machines between 1920 and 1925. And indeed Roman Known would continue as a producer of flat twin motorcycles, producing a range of machines for the French army at the beginning of World War II. Although unfortunately few of these machines actually survive today, whilst Neumann Rhone, themselves the producers of aviation engines, would not return to full-time motorcycle production and would be nationalised as an aviation engine producer in the immediate post-war period. But one of our two main protagonists, following the collapse of the Sopwith Aviation Company, would go into another partnership with his chief test pilot, one Harry Hawker, with a new company Hawker bearing Harry's name. This company would go on to be one of the great legends of British aviation, producing the Hawker Hart in the interwar years, as well as the stunning Hawker Hurricane, Typhoon Tempest, and the beautiful Hawker Hunter jet, before later going into another partnership with Siddeley Engineering as Hawker Siddeley to produce the Harrier jump jet, before the whole concern was absorbed into British aerospace. Meanwhile, Bradshaw would continue his individualistic path, designing a range of oil-cooled single-cylinder engines employed by a number of companies including DOT, as well as a Motor Guzzi-style V-twin for Phelan and Moore dubbed the Pamphlet, which, like so many of Bradshaw's designs, featured a number of unusual touches, including leaf spring control valves. And there's no doubt that the later Pamphlet shared a number of features with the earlier ABC twin, and unfortunately this did also include an inability to make a profit. In later years he would be involved in the design of the Berkeley three-wheel car, but also in a very unusual toroid design engine, a concept which ultimately he was not able to bring to fruition. What other bikes or collection of bikes would you like to see us feature in a future video? Maybe you've got a bike we can use for a test ride. Either way, do get in touch below. Hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe, and of course, thank you very much for watching.